Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aaron Schulenburg, Executive Director of the Society of Collision Repair Specialists, joining you from the SEMA Collision Repair and Refinish stage in the final throes of the 2021 SEMA Show. And I'm joined by a couple of my friends from both SCRS and I-CAR. Guys, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Rob Grieve. I'm the very proud owner of Nylund's Collision Center in Denver, Colorado, and a proud SCRS board member.
Scott VanHulle. I am the RTS manager at I-CAR.
And I'm Andy Tylka, owner of Tom and Ed's Autobody, and also a board member with the SCRS.
So we've been doing a ton of education sessions here from the show all week long, and really this is an opportunity for us to look back on what was accomplished this week for the industry, because it was a phenomenal week. Before we talk about the sessions, what were your thoughts on the show in general, show floor? Andy?
You know what, there was a lot of chatter before the show, and everybody just had that fear of the unknown. I was extremely impressed with how crowded the floor was this year. It was great how the aisles were separated a little bit more. Everybody had a little bit more room. I was very excited. I go to SEMA pre-COVID every year, and the turnout was amazing. It was awesome.
So I know for us, even if numbers were down, numbers are numbers. The quality of the people coming through were true collision people. They wanted to know about, for I-CAR, for the Gold Class. They had technical questions, and really well attended with high quality people. And I think that's what I heard from a lot of the other vendors as well that were here, is pretty much everybody that came through was truly collision repair.
All I gotta say is it exceeded my expectation as far as the amount of people walking around. It's a blessed show.
Well, I think exceeded expectations has been the theme of what I've heard throughout the week. I think one of the really neat things for me has been the move to South Hall. You hit the nail on the head with the fear of the unknown. We used to have our section in the North Hall of the show, and I think there's a lot of people who were unsure what the South Hall would look like. To your point, Scott, it's felt so focused, right? We've got this amazing group of collision repairers, collision repair exhibitors. You look around the show floor here, and the entire industry is here under one roof in the South Hall, and I think that's been a really impactful thing. We need that as an industry, and I think this has certainly accomplished it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the industry grow in this section. We've got a lot of opportunity to do that, pull in new exhibitors. I think it was a good move. Yeah.
And I think, part of it too, some people kind of thought that, well, maybe there weren't as many vendors here, but I think everyone has to realize there's a whole nother hall that's a very large hall that they have now expanded, so we have room to grow. And that's the most exciting thing, is this show, with all the COVID restrictions and all the things that we've had to deal with, all the travel restrictions, and to still have a good show like this is just a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, agreed.
And I just got to add to that and say it was easier to move around on the floor, and much easier to find the people that you wanted to go see and check out stuff than it was in the other building.
Well, and I think one of the great additions, 100%, I think one of the great additions is you now have the SEMA Collision Repair and Refinish stage back on the show floor, which is a really awesome thing from a show feature standpoint. So you guys, Scott, I'm going to turn to you. You guys did sessions all week long. We worked on pulling in OEMs. I-CAR did sessions. SCRS did sessions. What was one of the highlights for you here from the stage?
I think the Scott Caboose presentation on the laser brazed roof, just because it kind of showed the whole industry kind of coming together. So it started off with an Ask I-CAR inquiry that how do you replace this laser brazed roof, and reach out to Scott Caboose. He said, oh yeah, you have to do these things, and we said, you know what, that would make a great video. So we did our Repairers Realm video on it, and that in turn, somebody else from the industry put in an inquiry into DEG, and so they were able to get the estimating system updated to not only include when you order that roof, you have to also order the brackets. So there's now a note in there and they updated the amount of time it pays on that roof. So all those things came together just in time for SEMA, and it really highlighted the whole industry working together, and it all starts with people not just assuming something, but asking the question to try to get clarification, and now it helps the whole industry.
Yeah, that industry organization collaboration is key, and I think, so you mentioned Scott Caboose with Honda and Acura was here, but we had multiple OEs. So you had Honda, Acura, Ford, Subaru, Jaguar, Land Rover. I think that was the mix, but that's an impressive array of OEMs who are giving material from the show floor to the industry, demonstrating the types of educational content that they have. Rob, you were involved in several of the presentations from here with SCRS, and I think the collaborative ones with I-CAR. What was maybe one of the standout moments for you?
Oh, there's just so many to pick from. I really enjoyed the one sitting on the panel with Bruce talking about insurance pushback and how to overcome some of what their, what their argument is, if you will. I think that was really outstanding when we covered a lot of ground with that, got a lot of questions from the audience. That was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that being able to pull in some of those different personalities, different people from different companies. We had some sessions on matte refinish and 4-stage colors, and pulled in some folks from Axon Nobel and BASF. I think you guys had we had a collaborative panel on glue pole repair, right? Pulling in Kiko, who happened to win a best new product. That's pretty cool. So Andy, as a shop owner, when you come to a show like this and you go and sit in an audience on a show floor for a stage, what are you really looking to accomplish in a venue like this?
I like to see stuff that you can't get anywhere else. You can't get it at a performance group or something that's just redundant online. So that's why I like the RDE classes, because they are always out-of-the-box classes with unique people. My favorite was probably the invoking the appraisal clause. It wasn't a lot that I knew, and knowing that there is something in the insured's policy that you can invoke it, and the numbers were staggering, where I was shocked that it increased the repair reimbursement by, I think, 90% from the original. And then finding out that more cars are able to be repaired when you reevaluate the total loss numbers. I think they said it's an increase of $3,000. So finding out from a shop like us that if we had $3,000 more before a car totals out, that car now becomes repairable. We're repairing more cars. Another stat that I learned was that 1 out of 5 cars total out. So we're losing out on 1 out of 5 cars being able to repair it. So this reevaluating the total loss numbers, it does open up doors for us to repair more cars.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, SCRS had our repair-driven education sessions in the classrooms, which I do think one of the cool things is how close the classrooms are now to the show floor. Just makes it really nice to get from the exhibits over there. Scott, we shared those classroom, those education hallways. What were some of the highlights for you guys out of your classes there?
I think coming into this, everyone was a little bit worried about the attendance, but a lot of people signed up for the classes, and it was really well received. But for me, I think, we had the hands-on demo area here by the stage for welding, like when we were out in the tent by the West Gate. But this year I didn't have to buy everybody hats so their heads didn't get sunburned. So that was a really positive thing for us, but we had great traffic here. We had collision repair students coming through. We had shop owners. We had all kinds of people from all different walks of the industry that actually are collision repairers at the stage, taking the time. So it wasn't just, somebody from the public or somebody just looking for nice cars. These were collision repair people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's part of what makes the show special, the trade only, right? And when you can have that focus, it's really important. We'll come back to the student thing in a minute, but Rob, I want to catch your thoughts. Did you have a favorite class, favorite standout?
Yeah, Danny with the DEG did an outstanding job showing people some estimating tools to help really dial in their estimates. It was just an amazing class. Really, really well attended and a lot of questions. It was a fun class to be part of.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the curriculum, and I'm biased obviously because we spent a lot of time developing it, but is the breadth of information, the variety that there is in those programs. Everything from HR work to digitalization of colors to surviving the loss of key accounts to estimating to more technical topics. There's really something for everyone in the mix there. But I'm with you, Scott. We've got a really strong population of students and instructors who come through those classrooms. And I love that we can contribute to an event at a show like this that not only serves the repairers that we represent, but that gives something back to the educational community that's doing so much to bring people into the trade. So that's been a really special part for me. I also really like seeing when the instructors go and sit in each other's classes, and I tend to get really great feedback from that just because, listen, we're all trying to learn from each other, right? And there's a lot of really informed individuals in this industry who have a lot to share. I think there's something really, really cool about that.
I'd just like to add to that real quick is if you were here, you learned and went to any of these things, you learned a lot. And a lot of it was you learned it here first this week. And you know what? The people that weren't able to make it, I feel horrible for them. They missed out on some great information.
So to that point, I'm going to skip ahead a day. We'll come backwards, okay? But talking about learning for the first time here this week, on Thursday we had our OEM Collision Repair Technology Summit, which certainly aligns with a lot of the stuff that I-CAR is doing. We had 3 sessions, one on EV, one on ADAS and safety. We had one on vehicle research and trends. I think one of the neat things about that, being a first, this was the first collision repair panel that Lucid was allowed to speak on to the industry and that Rivian was allowed to speak on to the industry. So you had 2 automakers with first-time approval to kind of communicate out to the market on their platform and the vehicles and what they're doing. There's something pretty special about that.
With first-time information.
That's right. So Andy, I'll ask you, from the OE Summit, anything in particular that really stood out for you?
You know, like you said, having Lucid, having Rivian there, that was awesome for me because, once again, you felt like it was exclusive. And that's what I feel like with SEMA and these classes or the OEM Summit is these topics aren't recycled. Every single one is brand new. So learning about their technology first is pretty neat and what's coming out.
Well, and talking with some of the people from there, the thing that excites me the most is they have some true collision people involved in those companies, and they are really looking at how do we write our repair procedures, how do we get that information out, and they get to develop the system that they're going to use right now. And that's probably the most exciting part because they can build it from the ground up with that best-in-class repair information, and that's what's really exciting.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's something really unique within our industry and the relationship that I-CAR has with OEMs and that SCRS has with OEMs. I heard from a lot of the audience members how surprised they were at the candor the automakers had up on the panels, how just communicative and transparent they were about some of the things that they're expecting and doing and working on and how to get there. That's something that's built through the relationships of the associations and industry organizations that I don't think you find in other segments of the automotive aftermarket. And so I think it comes across really clear in an event like that.
Yeah, I think they were anxious to answer the questions, and if they would have had more time, they would have taken more questions. It was just keep them coming. It was a great way to do it.
Well, and I'm amazed at how available they made themselves afterwards. Where can you go and have conversation with these OEM manufacturer celebrities that you can just talk and ask any question, and they make themselves completely available.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just OEMs. We also had some conversation around telematics and Ryan McMahon with Cambridge Mobile Telematics. I love that some of these can look at bigger picture issues going on in the industry and kind of give us some insight into what other industry segments are doing and how they're utilizing information like data that comes available through those mobile telematics apps. That one was really fascinating to me. It was a big deep dive into the utilization of data via telematics.
I got to tell you, it was kind of hurt my brain a little bit listening to all of it because there was just so much of it. But you're like, wow, every 10 seconds looking at this thing and listening to them, and the amount of information that these people are gathering and able to instantly transmit to a third party is, I'm not even sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's incredible, but it's a lot of information.
And I learned going into those, okay, I'm not going to come out completely understanding everything, but I'm being exposed to everything, and that was important for me.
Yeah. That was an amazing class. I mean, that really was one of my favorites.
Very cool. So I want to take a step back a couple days. We glossed over Tuesday, and there was a pretty important event that took place on Tuesday, which was the Collision Industry Conference. The CIC event is a discussion forum where all segments of the industry come together and converse about things that are happening in the industry. I think it's a really important place for the industry to come together, and I think it's meaningful that it happens here at the SEMA Show. Andy, you've been coming to CIC for a bit. Tell me what your thoughts are about why it matters to have that event at an event like this.
Having which event?
Having CIC at an event like SEMA.
Oh, I mean, you already have the who's who of the area. So getting those people to be exposed at CIC, and it's people that haven't normally been the CIC that has this here. And hey, it's kind of like that. While I'm here, I'm going to make sure I'm exposing myself to the Collision Industry Conference and find out a little bit more about what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. So I had the good fortune to attend for most of the day over there. It was extremely well attended, and I think it'll go back to that theme of maybe the conversation, which is there was some anticipation beforehand of what to expect, and I think the week just turned out with one victory over the next, and events that were well attended, and it really was just good constructive dialogue. There were some really good panels throughout the day on that tackled some pretty tough issues in the industry, and I was actually fortunate to be on one through the Paint and Materials Committee or Parts and Materials Committee that actually pulled in Josh Center. We were talking about LiDAR, and Josh is one of your subject matter experts on ADAS, correct? Can you give just a little background on what your SMEs do within I-CAR?
So our SMEs are really, they are technical experts. So the RTS team, we primarily are researching and doing things on the RTS website. So they're kind of subject matter experts, but we have dedicated SMEs that are working with our instructional designers to actually help develop the curriculum that we create. And these guys they're all from the shop. They understand the industry, and they were really good technicians, and they're great SMEs. They're very knowledgeable. So they are heavy influencers on all the curriculum, making sure that it's the right technical information delivered in a way that will actually resonate with the technician, because that's really the main target. Because anybody that's technical, we all kind of think the same. It's kind of funny. No matter where you seem to go or who you talk to, if they're a technical person, we just kind of go about the same things the same way. And so to have those people involved, that really helps. And Josh, his main focus is calibration and ADAS, and also helping out with some of the EV stuff that we're doing right now. So we've added a lot of SMEs in the recent history, and we have more that we're going to be adding soon.
Yeah, he did a great job. It was really interesting conversation. Your SMEs are awesome. I mean, I learn so much every time I talk to them because they're just so they've got so much depth behind those specific subjects.
Yeah, it's one of those things that being at I-CAR, it's kind of one of the funnest jobs you can have, because we're always on looking at cutting edge and bleeding edge technology and what's coming next and how are we going to train the industry. EV is a good example. We're investing heavily in that because right now it's 1% of the car park. But in 5 years, could it be 20%? And that's a huge challenge for the industry if you don't know how to work on EVs. So that's why we've been investing so heavy with all of these SMEs and new types of classes and more in-depth classes that I think the industry is really going to enjoy.
I got to tell you, you've been knocking it out of the park with the new stuff you got coming out. Really relevant and timely, for sure.
So, hats off to Jordan and CIC. Really successful event there. So let's talk about Wednesday morning. I find myself often saying that things are my favorite part of the week, and then I say it about multiple things all week long. But there are so many things that I love that occur during the SEMA Show week. But one of them for sure is our Collision Industry Red Carpet Awards breakfast. There's something really just heartwarming about bringing all sorts of industry members together to recognize people who've just done great things in the industry and are worthy of recognition. And we had hundreds of people there at the breakfast held here in the Upper South Hall, and it was a special event. Obviously Jeff Peavy with I-CAR was recognized by SCRS, and you guys gave out some of your own awards as well. Yep. So, Andy, I think that was your first time at that breakfast, or first couple times at the breakfast. Any like key moments that just really stood out to you?
I loved when the SCRS gave out the March Award, and that was emotional, I think, for everybody. And I got to see the emotion and the connection everybody had. And you could probably fill more in on the history with that. But you could tell everybody took this very seriously. Everybody was well dressed. Everybody had. They're laughing because I was wearing shorts. I was not best dressed. Was not voted best dressed. I didn't get the memo of the what I was supposed to wear. So at least I wore pants. But it was great because everybody was there to support the award winners.
Yeah, I'll tell you that award in particular means a ton to me. And to all of us at SCRS. March Taylor was obviously a member of our board and just a tremendous contributor within this industry, who was lost well before his time and was such a mentor to so many of us. I come to these events because March pulled me up. As an estimator at a shop, he reached out numerous times because we communicated and said we need more people to start coming to these events, and really, he did that to so many people around our table. And it's the Kina Ole Award, which just recognizes doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons with the right people. And I think it's about recognizing that spirit in somebody else who embodies that. And it's a good lesson for all of us. We should all be reaching back, finding people to mentor and pull up and teach the way to help make the industry better. And it really is. It's emotional every year, and Jeff and Kai and Barry did such a good job of presenting it and telling those stories of both March and Toby. Certainly I was really honored to give Jeff his award. Jeff Peavy was recognized for a Collision Industry Service Award for recognizing the consumer and putting them at the forefront, and that was a pretty emotional one to give as well. And you could see the room react to it. And there's something really fun about being at a live event again and watching people stand up and give a standing ovation and hearing the applause and seeing the tears in somebody's eyes as they see the industry rally behind them. It's special, and you can't get that through virtual events. And it's a reminder of why what we do here is so important.
It was one heartfelt moment right after the next, I got to tell you. And just the people embracing the people that were chosen for these awards. It was just, you can't even describe the air in the room. It was wonderful.
Well, I feel like everybody in the room was worthy of an award because it really was all the people that support the industry, educate, expose people to the industry, and they do that out of the kindness of their heart. And I bet it was very hard to pick who gets these awards. Absolutely. I loved being exposed to that.
Absolutely. So Scott, so that was, I guess, Wednesday morning. What other events did you guys have going on throughout the week?
So I was pretty much chained to the stage.
Okay.
And that's one of the hardest parts of SEMA is there's so many things going on. to try to get to everything, we need to start cloning ourselves to even attempt to get all the things we want to get to. So when that breakfast was going on, I was here making sure the stage was ready to go. But that's the thing that I didn't know how it was going to be, but my feet are tired. I'm ready to go home because we put on so many miles. I don't even want to know how many miles we put on this week. And so even though it was going through COVID, I'm really looking forward to what next year brings because I think it's going to be that much better.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably do this again next year. That makes sense.
Glad to hear.
All right. So we also had today's it's the last day of the show, and to your point, I think everybody's feet hurt, right? Everybody's got that little scratchy throat going on from the Vegas air, but it's all worth it. It's all well earned. We had our Ideas Collide showcase this morning, 10 speakers, 10 minutes apiece, projecting just really thoughtful ideas. And obviously we curate all those into one, and it didn't hit me until today as I was watching the delivery on a variety of these different idea matters, just how different they were, from very localized ideas about building proper repair plans to more broad messages that are being kind of reinforced and echoed through the industry about following OEM repair procedures, to data protection and privacy, to building out artificial intelligence. And really, Michael Laprete did a great job with a closing one on sustainability and the role that we play in our industry and affecting the ecosystem that we're in. And there's something I just love, again, that thought leadership within the industry that can kind of come together and really explore kind of novel ideas and see how we push one another to be better. So
like you said, Scott, you can't be everywhere. I mean, there's just too many things going on all at the same time, and we haven't figured out the cloning part yet. But, the day's early for I-CAR. They'll figure it out. But, yeah, I unfortunately was not able to go to that, but was missing it because I just saw all the rock stars that were going to be one right after the next presenting. But I'm sure it was a wonderful event.
But actually, that brings up a great point. So you were missing it actually because you were at an OEM certified network meeting, and I think it's important to recognize that there's a lot of official SEMA events that are going on, but there's also a lot of other organizations that come into the show and hold meetings to kind of bring the industry together and take advantage of everybody's presence. How was that?
Oh, it was, again, full of information, and you're just sitting there going, oh, look at all this. This is a complex car, I got to tell you. But yeah, and then I couldn't get to CIC, which I really wanted to go to because they had great presenters and wonderful topics I wanted to hear. I had to be at the Lexus meeting, so can't be everywhere.
That's right. So let's just maybe talk through favorite moments of the week. If you could narrow it down to one or two, and it doesn't have to be something that you've already discussed. What stood out? And Rob, I'll start with you, and we can come down this way. But what was maybe one of your highlights of the week?
Well, it was actually the whole week.
Okay.
Wrapped up into last night at the party, and I say the whole week because I've gotten to talk or meet for the first time so many people that we've been on Zooms with or Facebook friends with, and I've just never actually met in person before. And the conversations that have been going on, that is my favorite part of the whole thing. This is a networking paradise.
I'm going to have to echo that. For me, meeting with all the different people from the industry, talking to the OEMs, talking to the equipment providers, working with you guys on tracking some of your guys down from time to time. But just the amount of time that you can actually dedicate, because when we're at home, working from home or in the office, you don't have that same time to just have those conversations that need to happen to help move this industry forward. And this is the absolute most exhausting week of the year, but there's so much that gets done and accomplished that I don't think we can really put a dollar value on it.
Well said.
I'm amazed after this conversation because then I truly do realize how much we did this week. You come in Monday and you are seeing this next 4 days and you're you're not dreading it, but it's overwhelming because you know that there's going to be tons of information. And then, come Friday, you blinked and it's gone. But everybody told me the highlight, of, and I think they're making fun of me. They said, let my hair down. But it was the SCRS party for sure. I think that was really designed of saying, okay, we got through it. And, the fact that a lot of the panelists were there where we were able to talk and everybody was able to relax. It was a party atmosphere. And I extremely enjoyed it. Brought my wife, and she had a beautiful time as well. Everybody was extremely welcoming to her. I loved it.
Nice.
Well, if anybody who knows me knows that I just kind of go with the flow. So since everybody agrees that last night was maybe a highlight, I'll go along with that. But I'll add this. It's not because it was a party. It's because I love this industry, and I love the people in it, and that's really
Amen.
what the people are what sets it apart. And that opportunity to be together, celebrate the work that was done, reflect back on it, but build the network and build the relationships and the friendships that we have. There are just so many good people who make up the collision repair industry, and it's great to have them under one roof. It's great to have a good time with them, and it's great to meet ones that you haven't seen in a long time, as many of us haven't, or ones that you've never met in person before. And to me, that's always been the highlight of the SEMA show. It's the energy, it's that spark of excitement. In an industry that is a tough industry to be in, this week makes me feel excited about what we do every time we get back home from it.
I'm so grateful for all the effort that has gone into putting this thing on. I mean, it probably takes a whole year to even plan. I hope you take it next week off before you start planning 2022. Get some time to relax. But, I mean, just from all the staff that's at your fingertips and at the doors and the vendors and everything else, all these people, it's incredible work to coordinate all this stuff. And I want to thank everybody for that.
I don't know about you, Aaron, but I'm pretty sure we already started planning for next year before we started this week.
Every year, that's what happens, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I mean, Scott and I work really closely on developing out, things like this, which is always enjoyable. I always like the opportunity to collaborate on that. But I think, hats are really off also to, the folks at SEMA who've really just done a tremendous
Amen.
job in very difficult circumstances of leading by example and putting together just a tremendous show. So I'm appreciative of all those folks that made that happen for sure, and glad we get to do it with them.
What I do want to add is when I first got started in these things or CIC, it's intimidating because you do walk into these meetings possibly not knowing anybody. And then you meet 2 people. And then those are friendly faces for next time. That turns into 8. That turns into 30. And then you start coming to these things and everybody's a friendly face. And it was scary the first time I came to CIC or the SCRS open board meeting. And then that's when you get these friendships and they introduce you to more people. You go out to dinner and now it's like coming home every time you come to these meetings now.
Amen.
So, listen, if you're watching this video and you haven't seen any others, most of what was done from this stage, or everything that was done from this stage throughout the week, is actually going to be available online. How would they find it through your channels?
So it is already.
Okay.
We were able to almost do it in real time. And I have to thank my video team for putting up with all of our last-minute changes and really helping us.
Tim's nodding his head over there.
Yeah.
He's in violent agreement with you.
It's Friday afternoon. He's nodding off.
The poor video team, we put them through the ringer, and we couldn't have done it without them. But we figured out a way to get those videos up almost within a few hours of the first airing of it, or the recording of it here. So that's been a huge win for us as an industry, I think. And so those are all going to be on our RTS website, on our CRN pages, our Collision Repair News. So they'll be up there. You'll be able to view them anytime. And, so if you couldn't make it here because of travel restrictions or anything like that, you can still get some of the content from the show.
And they'll also go up on the SCRS YouTube channel We aren't nearly as efficient, so ours will be up next week. So you'll get the first airing of ours when you've returned back home. And ours are on youtube.com/SCRS Collision. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you get notified as new videos are released, and go ahead and give them a like if you like the content. So listen, guys, any final words? Any last thoughts?
It's been a great week. I'm ready to go home.
I would agree, and I'm looking forward to next year, and I think some of the stuff we've been talking about for the stage will take it to a whole nother level next year.
Yeah, it just makes me even more excited for next year because I know that there is just so many builds that happened during COVID and so many vendors that just couldn't make it. Then I felt like it was so well attended, and so it's going to be hard to imagine how next year is going to even be even more positive. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm very excited for next year. Wear comfortable shoes. Wear comfortable
lots of them.
shoes.
So thank you for watching along. Thank you for being an industry that's worth us all fighting for and worth us all putting these events together for. We're all very proud of the work we do on your behalf and cannot wait to see you next year at the 2022 SEMA Show here in Las Vegas. Have a great one.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. You did good, man. All killed it.